Navid, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, sir. How you been?
Doing well, dude. Doing well. Obviously, I'm excited to dive into a conversation with you about all things life, real estate, wealth building, everything else in between. And you're somebody who's in my mastermind, the Skeleton Key Mastermind, and it's been quite the how many months has it been now? 5 months or something like that. So 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, something like that.
And we'll be in San Diego together here in about a month-ish, month and a half. But obviously, beyond the mastermind itself, I've fallen in love with your character. I've fallen in love with your approach to business, to life, to family. And obviously now me and my wife are working with you to help build out our wealth and our real estate investing portfolio and all those things in between. So we're going to dive into all of it. But why don't we start with who is Navid today? And then we'll break down how you got there.
Damn, how long is the show? Now, Navid today is somebody who is a family first, uh, tries to keep God in front of him at all given times, not to get swayed by the shiny objects. Um, that's it. Like that is it. I don't get me wrong, I love cars and cooking, but my boys and God, man, that's it. That I try to keep that in front of me at any given time.
I love it, man. And it is so important. And people who have that mindset of family first, everything else is secondary. I think it speaks a lot to you as a man. And I want to dive into that kind of area a little bit, right? So you've been able to build a business where you have freedom of time, you have
Mhm.
freedom to do all those types of things. Was that part of the mindset when you got into real estate investing? Like, hey, I want time freedom so I can spend time with my family, raise my kids, and do all that stuff.
No, no, no. I was extremely vain when I first got in. I just wanted the big ass house and the nice ass cars. No, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
I was like, I see people with big house houses and planes and boats, and I'm like, I want those things, and that's why I got into it. I got into it for the money. I got into it really just to get paid and show off to people that I'm better than you.
Mm.
That
So
is
what
as unfiltered as it gets.
no, and I love it. And I love the honesty. And so what was it about the idea of wealth and things and showing off that was your draw? Do you think that was a societal thing where like society said, hey, once you get this, all is going to be well? Like, where did that come from?
Yes, I mean, being the fat foreign kid growing up in inner city schools, I got picked on a lot, right? I got picked on at home, I got picked on at schools, I got picked on in general. And so I was like, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that you made a mistake by picking on me. You could have been my friend, and I would take you with me. And so that was the driving force behind that. Obviously, as you get older and you realize what life is truly about, what your parents tell you, but because they're so old, they don't know anything about life. You start listening to that, like, oh shit, they know what it is, and this is what it is, and it's time.
Mm.
It's time. It's nothing else. It's just time. We cannot buy more of it, but we can manipulate it. And that is what I've tried to have quote unquote mastered for the past half a decade or so.
Yeah. And no, and I love that approach. So what was, it might not be a defining moment, it might be a series of moments, but what was the thing in your life that you went, okay, it's not the money? Did you already have the money and then it was easy to shift the perspective, or what came first, the chicken or the
I
egg?
ha- I had the money a couple of times and I lost it a couple of times. And because I didn't have the education of what to do with money, right? Because there's always we're all taught, for the most part, get a paycheck, pay your bills, put some in savings, and everything else kind of falls and takes life kind of falls in your lap after that. It's such bullshit. It doesn't work that way. The real wealth, the real time is get the money and then do something with the money so it works for you while you're still working. So it's
Mm.
almost like having a dual income, right? You can get a full-time job and a part-time job physically, but get a full-time job, make that money become your part-time job, essentially, is what it shifted. What really happened, there was a series of moments, but the one big moment was here. I'm driving a car, it was like 50, 60 grand, whatever it was, and I've got some big ass rims on it, nice sound, and it's a gorgeous looking car, premium gas only, European model, blah, blah, blah. And I'm driving that to look at a house. My son's in the car and he wants chicken nuggets. 99-cent chicken nuggets, and I couldn't afford it.
Mm.
What the hell am I doing driving a $50,000 car, but I can't get 99-cent chicken nuggets for my son? And that right there was, I can't keep doing this. I can't. I can't keep living this paycheck to paycheck, balling like out of control life that's not really out of it's truly out of control. I just can't do it no more. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do this. So I need to be who my parents said I could be growing up. I need to be who the people, my society, and around me think I am. They think I'm this in control person who has life figured out and has everything under control. It was a big facade, huge
Mm,
facade. I had to stop living it as a facade and live it as reality. And that was my thing. Like, I can't do this.
yeah. It's I feel like that's an epidemic in this country specifically. People who are plastic rich, meaning
I
everything's
like
getting
that.
put on a
I
credit
like that.
card. Yeah, dude. And so like I remember where I grew up. Like I grew up in a neighborhood where every single person in that neighborhood was plastic rich, right? Like it was like they didn't actually have money. They had baller paychecks, but then they would
Yeah.
just spend it to keep up with the Joneses, right? That whole theory of keeping up with the Joneses. How does somebody find themselves and I think me growing up poor, like I've never, when I was living paycheck to paycheck, it was because I was stupid and young. But once I figured it out at a little bit of a later age, I never had that issue of like, hey, I can't afford those 99-cent chicken nuggets. How do you do that? How do you have a $50,000 car and not have a dollar?
You mean besides being stupid? I mean,
Yeah.
there's just no education. The education of how to take care of your funds was never there for us. Growing up in the school district I grew up in inner city schools, we had, I remember, so I grew up in Harrisburg, PA. And I remember walking in one day, I want to say it was my sophomore year, my junior year in high school. And the teacher, he wrote his salary on the board.
What? That's
Yep.
crazy.
I walk in, and it wasn't just towards me, it's everybody, whole class. And very first day, he's trying to teach. Some kids are talking, and he just stops teaching, just sits there. And then everyone gets quiet because the teacher stopped talking. And so he gets up very, very calmly, writes his salary on the board, and he sits down and he goes, "This is what I make, whether you pass or not. This is what I make, whether you show up in class or not. I don't care if you want to be here or not. I'm still going to make this amount of money. So I can earn my money or I cannot earn my money. But guess what? It's your parents' money that pays this, by the way. So
Mm,
what do you guys want to do?" And I'll never forget that. I would never, I'm like, holy shit. Now, in all honesty, I want to say it was somewhere north or south in the upper $60,000 kind of range. Now,
sure.
when you're like 15, 16, I'm, damn, I was rich. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, oh. So, but I was like, yeah, no matter what you do, he's still going to make his money.
Yeah. Yeah. What a lesson, right? Like the understanding of like you have to put in the work, right? You
Yeah.
have to put in the work for yourself, not for anybody else, right? Such a great lesson there. And so first of all, let's talk about school systems really quick. Why don't they teach financial like literacy? Why don't they
Oh,
teach how to
man.
make money, earn money, save money, the importance of it all? Like, wouldn't that shift the entire future of this country?
Oh, I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm going to tell you this.
No, dude, let's dive in, bro. Let's go conspiracy theory.
I had this conversation last night at the dinner table, actually with my niece and my son. School is a business. Businesses can't go under. College is a business. Schools are business. At the end of the day, they don't care. They care about the bottom line. And so that's why you see money being put into sports, because people come in on the weekends and the homecoming games and they buy the popcorn and the hot dogs and the t-shirts and the hats. That's all revenue for the schools. They need that money to keep coming back and back. So in order to do it, let's teach them how to get a job.
Mm,
And if they say this school told me how to get this job, well, we're an alumni of that school. Let's keep giving our money to the school.
yeah.
Right. So but if they teach you financial wealth or financial literacy, you're not going to put the money back into the school because the school's not going to pay a dividend or return to you. It's not. So why would they teach you a way to leave their ecosystem?
Mm,
That's bad business.
yeah.
That is bad business, right? So, in my opinion, the schools do not teach that on a mass level because they're now going to basically teach you a way to get away from them, and they're going to realize it's just a big scam. That is my opinion. It's on the record now, obviously. But I am not a big proponent of the school system. Look, it took me 5 years to graduate. I bounced around to 3 different colleges, dropped out all 3 different colleges. And I tell my wife is a, class valedictorian, whatever that was, and went to college, got her degree and everything like that. She's a big proponent of school. I'm not a big proponent of school. And we tell our children, there is a fund for you. It's not a college fund. There's money in here. If you want to go to college, you can go to college. If you want to start your own business, you can start your own business. There's just a fund for you. We're going to do our best to make you do the best so you don't screw up like we did. Go with God and let's see what happens.
Yeah. And I think that's smart, right? It's a smart approach. And I believe in the idea of investing in your kids in that way. Now, obviously the fund can't be like, here's free money, go live your life. No. Right. Because again, it's the learning part. You have to learn how to utilize money to benefit you. Right. And that's something that you teach people how to do all the time. You have a term called, I'm going to mess it up. Agentpreneur.
Agent tour. Very close.
Agent
very
tour.
Close.
So agent tour, right? So you literally teach real estate agents how to get into the investing game, because that's really where the money is, right? Real estate investing is where the money is. What was your shifted understanding of that? Were you a real estate agent? You're like, I'm not making money here. I need to make the shift. How did you get into real estate investing?
So the term agent tour is an agent and entrepreneur, right? And when you're a real estate agent, the lie that they sell you, the dream that they sell you is get your license, become an independent contractor, work for yourself, and you're financially free, and you can go ahead and go to Sundays and drink wine and have champagne and go golfing and ride horseback and blah blah. It's a bunch of BS. If you're truly an independent contractor, then you truly get your own business. But as an agent, I need to have someone willing to sell their home for me to do. So I'm relying on the seller, or I'm relying on a buyer. So ultimately, I'm still relying on other people, not myself. So I'm not really an independent contractor. I still work for a seller or a buyer. My shift became when my broker was upset that I was not going to be in the office for a meeting. And it was like, well, I don't want to be there. I didn't have an appointment. I had nothing. I just like, fuck it, I ain't coming.
Yeah.
At that moment, I'm like, yo, my broker's a pimp and I'm the prostitute. He's pimping me out. He's put me on the streets to get all these deals for him. I'm bringing the money back to daddy and saying, here you go. Where's my cut?
Yep.
And I was like, yo, that's not right. It shouldn't be like that. So that's when it clicked. And I was like, you know what? F it. I'm going to start teaching agents to start investing, because what I did was, after that meeting, the one I didn't attend, and I ended up attending it because I felt bad and it was a waste of bullshit ass meeting.
Yep.
I go to it. I had a settlement. At that settlement table, I saw my client. I got a check for like $1,500 or something like that as a commission check. My client flipped the property right there in front of me to another buyer. He got a check for like over 15 grand. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not a licensed agent. I did all the work, but you just made 10 times the money that I did. And I was always told a closed mouth doesn't eat. So I asked him, I said, yo, what the hell did you do? And that's when I introduced to the investing side. And so I started investing. And that's when I was like, I'm going to start showing agents. I'm going to start showing them how you guys have all the tools at your disposal right now. You just need to have a different mindset of how to look at that tool and the data in these tools that we have, and then how you can use it for yourself. If you want to maintain your real estate business, you still can. If you don't, you don't have to. The call is yours. And that's why it's agent tour. If you still want to be an agent, you can while being an entrepreneur. If you just want to say, I want my real estate license so I can have the tax advantage, which is what I do.
Yep.
And invest, you can do that too.
Yeah. So is that the wholesale model, right? There's so many different, and I'm learning this from you as the more and more we talk and the more my wife and I sit down with you, I'm learning that there's so many different avenues in real estate that you can make money, that you can truly build wealth. So what that guy did, however many
He
years ago
wholesaled it.
that was a wholesale. So obviously talk a little bit about that method and kind of how
Yeah.
people look at that as a quick, somebody, and I actually still have to introduce you, but Ryan Dawsey talks about it all the time, right? He's like, oh yeah, I made $65,000 on this wholesale. Like, that's mind blowing to me, right? To be like, okay, all I have to do is negotiate. Talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, I mean, the wholesale is basically you get a property under contract and then you sell that piece of paper to somebody else for more than what you paid for it. Generically speaking, that's a wholesale deal. So if I'm buying 123 Main Street from you, Justin, at 25 grand, I now go to my end buyer and say, hey, I have a property here. I can sell it to you for $40,000. Right. And they go, oh, great. So I've given you a deposit. I'm telling this person I'm selling to him for 40 and I'm selling it to you I'm buying off you for 25. So all they're going to do is give me a deposit of $25,000. I'm going to give their 25 grand, like give them to me, right to you. And I'm going to keep the 15 grand for myself. And all I did was take one piece of paper to another. That's wholesaling.
Wow.
Right. And that's what it is. It's totally legal. It's not shady. It's not scammy, because people are like, oh, it's worth more. Yeah, I do know it's worth more. And I told Justin, you can get more than this 25 if you want. It's just going to take you a lot more time to get it. But Justin's in a bad situation and needs the money now. So I'm going to give him the money now to help him out. And I'm going to go to my network resources, which cost me time and money to build, and sell it for more. That's wholesale. That's one of many, like you had said, of ways to invest. There's wholesaling, flipping, landlord, subject to and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what wholesaling is. I'm taking a property and basically selling it without doing no work or very minimal work to it for more than what I paid for it. And you don't need a license to do it. You can be unlicensed. However, they're different discussion, cracking down on that. But yeah, that's what wholesaling is.
Wow. And you made it obviously sound so easy, but there's a lot more work
Yeah.
involved, a lot of time invested into
Yeah.
that, as far as, like you said, building out that network, understanding what properties could be bought at what versus something else, and all those things in between. And there's obviously tools and tactics that you can kind of go into. Is there a place people can go, or resources people can go to get more information on that model specifically? Is that something you teach people?
Well, if they go to www.navidmoosa.com, no, yeah, I do. I teach that model. They can go to my website, navidmoosa.com. Also on Insta, TikTok at the Navid Moosa. They can get stuff from there. I do. I have some freebie stuff on that. People can learn how to do it. Of course, it's the truncated version because you only have 15 to 30 seconds to get people's attention on social media. So it's a truncated version of it. But if you go to my website, I do have a mindset investor course, and I have the actual agent or course on there, which people can buy. And it goes through all the method, and that's more in depth. You not only learn how to do it, you learn what resources I personally use, marketing, building your list, getting contact, building a rapport, negotiating tactics. Everything is on there. I teach all of that from what I say, cradle to the grave. I teach all that there.
Yeah, and I want to give our listeners some tools and understanding as to, like, why are we having this conversation, right? Because I feel blessed to be able to be in a place in my life where I can discuss wealth building versus where do I get the next client? Where do I get the next, 10 grand? Where do I get the next whatever? And when you get to that point in life, obviously there's different avenues. You can go stocks, you can go real estate, you can go, investing in long-term wealth building, or whatever the case may be. Why real estate? Like, what drew you to the real estate market, and why should people look at that versus stocks or something else?
So real estate's always going to be there. Someone's always going to need a place to live. I mean, hands down. And nothing wrong with stocks, but companies can go bankrupt, which we've seen, right? Pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, during pandemic, we've seen companies go bankrupt. And a house is always going to need to be occupied by an owner or renter, short-term, long-term, occupant, whatever. So that's what drove me to real estate. It's not going anywhere, not going anytime soon. It's not a fad. These techniques that I teach have been around for well over 25, 30, 40 years. They just keep getting new terms with them, right? Yeah. So to me, real estate is here to stay for eternity. It's not going anywhere. And I think people should really look at it because it's a tangible asset. A stock is not, right? A stock is, You go to a platform and buy a stock or a share, and that's it. Real estate, you can drive to it, fly to it, you can Google map it and see that it's there and stuff like that, and know that, hey, I own that. I can give that to my kids. I can hand that down to my family. I can, crap, when I get divorced, my wife's gonna get that shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
whatever it's gonna be, there you go. That's why. It's the touching feeling, age-old adage. If I can touch it, I can feel it, I know it exists.
Yeah, and long term, I mean, real estate's always going to go up, right? There might be dips, like 2008 was a great example of that. But
Yeah.
you come out of that, right? You're going to come out of that, and it's going to go. I saw a clip on TikTok or Reels. It's all the same at this point. But it was somebody talking about how in the fall of 2019, the average house in America was something like $260,000, and now it's like 400 something thousand
It's
dollars.
430. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I saw this and I was like, that is absolutely crazy from 2019 to 2023. Now that's a boom. That's not normal, but imagine getting in 2019. And even if you wanted to go, okay, I'm ready to cash out. Think about how much money you would have made in those 4 years of those simple investments. Like that's the way I look at it. And we also love the idea, Lauren and I talk about, I'd rather hand the kids 100 doors
Correct.
than $10 million, you
Yeah.
know? And so
Yeah, because
like,
that,
and
yeah.
it'll forever pay them. And at that point, hopefully we live long, healthy lives. And hopefully these homes are 100% paid off. And so it's just nothing but profit for them long term. Is that what you're doing as well? Obviously I think you have something like 300 doors. Is that something that you're passing on to your kids? Like what's your thought process there?
Oh, absolutely. So to kind of go back when I said about the kids with the college fund or their fund, like I told my kids, listen, I at least want you to go to school to learn about like marketing and accounting. You don't got to get a degree, learn about those. So when I hopefully, like you said, we live a long life. When I hand you this stuff, if you want it, no bookkeeper or accountant can steal it from you. Right. So my thing was, listen, marketing is across the board, no matter what business, and so is money management. So if you can get those two skills down, yeah, I have well over a push like 500 doors at this point, but doesn't matter one door or 300. Education on that, on how to manage that, is going to be key. So I want to make sure that, to answer your question, yeah, that is what I'm doing. I want to leave my last name somewhere, on a building, on a road or street or somewhere. So to me, I'm going to spend hopefully more time in heaven than I am on earth. So um, I want to know that when I go away, my kids can say, "Hey, Dad left that for us. Grandpa left that for us. Great grandpa left that for he great grandma and grandpa did this and showed us how to do this, so I can show it." That's a lesson that never ever goes away.
Yeah.
2 + 2 = 4. Hey Alexa, what's 2 + 2?
Yep.
Alexa's gonna know answer. What's the 38th president of our country? Alexa knows that shit.
Yep.
I don't want to hand that crap down. I want to hand down an address. I want to hand down a street name, right? So to me, I want to have a street named last name after us, so the kids can always say, "I got a street named after you guys." Like that is legacy. That
That's
is
cool.
ultimate.
The Moosa Mosque. I feel like that just
Yeah.
makes sense.
No, Moosa Way, Moosa Boulevard, something like that.
Dude, it's so true, right? I talk often on this show about legacy, like leaving a legacy behind, right? Like this podcast is in a sense legacy, as long as somebody keeps my Libsyn account running after I pass. Like hopefully somebody will pay the $5 a month or whatever, right? But it's a forever thing, right? So like my great grandchildren will have an opportunity to listen to these shows and go, who was this idiot, right? Where did this all come from? But then beyond that, when you're raising kids, you want to help them out. You want to set them up.
Yeah.
But obviously I like the idea, and I know you have this mindset too, and I'd love to get into it. You have the mindset of, but you have to earn it. Like, it's not just about, okay, hey, I'm dead. Here it is, kids, go ruin it. Like
Yeah.
you were talking about, go get marketing, go get accounting, education, all that stuff. How are you, what other things are you doing with your children now? Like, first tell us their ages so people understand. And then what are you
Yeah.
doing with your kids now to really get them to be like, okay, hey, this is where you're going to be when you're an adult, and this is how you have to approach life.
So they're 16 and 10 as we do this interview here. My 16-year-old has been looking at houses with me since he's been 2 years old.
Wow.
He's been going inside of foreclosure homes, inside of probably some places that if children and youth found out, they'd probably take my kids away from me. They're dirty ass places, to be honest. Um, uh, so yeah, I tell them, listen, If you don't want to do what daddy does, we're totally fine with that. I just want you to be a productive member of society. Ultimately, that's all we want for our children. I do not want them to rely on the government. I do not want them to rely on anybody else. I don't even want them to rely on us. I want them to make sure that when they go out in the world and they leave this house, that they are 100% responsible for their own actions. That's the ultimate goal. As far as prepping them, the marketing you need that no matter what part of business you're in, accounting you need no matter what part of the business you're in, real estate, podcasting, no matter what. I'm preparing them one-on-one by actually telling them what my days are like. So at the family table, we have dinner as a family 7 days a week. 7 days a week, we have a set dinner, no electronics, and we go around the room. We go around the table. How was your day? How was your day? How was your day? Right? My 16-year-old son now sits at the head of the table. I want him to be a man of the house. So I say, listen, you're 16. You now sit at the head of the table and you are to ask everybody how their days are. Like that's how deep I try to take it. Some
Yeah.
people say that's that's too much. It's extra. Well, we're extra special. We're extra ordinary around here, right? So hence
Yeah.
the name extraordinary. So that's how we take it. We take it to a level of I want them to understand when they say, Dad, what was your day? I tell them, I had to fire somebody today, and here's why. I hired somebody today, and here's why. We were able to raise this much money, and here's how we raised this much money. I had a meeting with this bank's president on these properties. They know about all those things. Now, they may not retain it, right? And I'm going to do a little plug here for those who are listening. Justin's mastermind, the skeleton key is fucking phenomenal. We had a speaker on there, and he talked about delegating, and in that, he said about if they get 80% of it right, that's good. Be happy with that. So, and I remember that. And if my kids retain 60% of what I'm telling them, I'm good with that. Because what's a 16-year-old supposed to know about raising a hedge fund money for about a multi-unit bro? He's not. But if I say it over and over and over to him, and it's worked, God bless, it's worked on everything I love, it's worked. He keeps asking more and more questions. Even the 10-year-old, my 10-year-old is explained to his 11-year-old cousin why I had to evict somebody by a certain date. He knows eviction dates, collection rent date. He's 10.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right? But if they don't want to do it, that is absolutely fine. At least they're equipped with the knowledge of knowing what it attains. If they like it, great. If they don't, great.
Yeah, I look at it like, look, we literally, so we filed the LLC for, doing the real
Yeah.
estate investing. We're going through the process. And I was like, look, like we got the book after we filed the LLC with the name of the company on the side of it. And we're like, this is going to be yours. Here's the best part. It has my last name in it. They don't have my last name, but that's a whole different conversation. I'm like, well, how's it feel to like, you're going to be owning a company one day that's with my last name on it? They're like, I don't care. But, I love the fact that you brought up Jason Duncan and them retaining the 80%. Here's the beauty of teaching your kids at a young age, the little things that you do throughout the day in order to build the life that you want, whether that's in real estate investing, whether that's in entrepreneurship in some other shape or form, or even if it's in your career and you're knocking that out of the park, it doesn't matter. What I love about teaching them and saying, okay, hey, they might not get it now, but if you give them 60% now, right? Here's what Jason was saying. When you let them go, they're going to be at 80%. When you come back and check on them, they're going to be at 90, then 100, and someday they're going to surpass you, right? So if you're not teaching them those tools young, they're starting at 0%. Like, might as well start them at some kind of percentage in order to set them up for success. And that, I believe, is what we were talking about earlier, which is legacy, right? The understanding that, yeah, your name could be on a street or a building or whatever. I always jokingly say I want a statue of me somewhere. It's be an ugly statue, but hey, it's still a statue. And so, you look at it and you go, okay, cool. Like, we're building legacy beyond us as our thoughts and our actions and the things that we've taught continue to live on and will live on for generations more. And I love that. And so let's talk about, we talked about earlier how there's multiple streams to get into real estate and make money in real estate. Let's start the basics. We're talking to somebody who says, hey, I've got $50,000, right?
Yep.
What's an easy access point to begin generating money? Like, where would you point that person first? Because you have the BRRRR method, you have the wholesale, you have flipping, you have all these other avenues.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get started?
All right. So without going too deep, obviously, I always ask person, what's your goals, right? Assuming the goal is just to have general cash coming in. I say let's go with the byrd method. Now, byrd stands for buying it, renovating it, renting it out, refinance, and repeat that process. Okay, so if you have $50,000, then the question is, okay, let's get you in with the lender so you can put that as a down payment to get you into a fixer-upper, right? Or let's see what's out there that's already ready to go to get you in, so you have some cash flow coming in off that. So that 50 grand isn't you just putting it in and it's in thin air. That 50 grand is now giving you a return, right? The 50 grand is giving you a return of X percentage, whatever that number is, and you go from that. Now, if you come to me and say, hey, Navid, man, I got a huge ass tax bill, I got this to pay, I need a chunk of cash, I need a chunk of money. All right, let's see if we can use that 50 grand with the lender to buy into a flip project, right? And I actually do wholesale as a very last resort. I don't do wholesale as a first resort. People get attracted to it because they quote unquote easy money, but
Yeah, it
there's a
sounds
lot
easy.
of there's a lot of infrastructure that goes into the wholesale side that these gurus and master classes don't tell you about until after you cut the check. And then they go, aha, I got you, bitch. Right. And
Yep.
then they tell you everything. And so that's why, to me, wholesale is the last strategy. So if you come to me with saying you have a steady cash flow issue, we go into the burn method, aka being a landlord. If we go into the method of I need chunks of cash, then it's okay. Let's look at the flipping of properties. So that's the 40,000 foot view of what I would tell people to do and kind of go that route.
Yeah. And I'll say this, Lauren and I have talked about doing real estate investing for a really, really long time. We've had conversations with people who've mastered it. And after learning from them, we're like, our brains melted and exploded. And we're like, this is so much. And it was almost like analysis paralysis. Like we didn't know what to
Absolutely.
do. I'm a big fan of SibKiss, see it big, keep it simple, stupid. Like,
Yeah.
you did that for us, right? Like we sat down with you at our dining room table and you mapped it out, and Lauren was like, okay, let's go. Right. It was really that understanding of like, this now makes sense for me. And so this is my plug for you. You gave a plug to the Skeleton Key Mastermind. My plug for you is like, if you're somebody who wants to get into real estate and you're in a position where you can spend a little cash and invest in yourself and in the real estate marketing, reach out to you. Go to navidmoosa.com. You can see how to spell his name in the show notes. Like, you made it simple enough for us to go, okay, we're willing to, because look, with anything, there's a risk, but we're willing to take the risk, because if you are working with a master of the model, it's a lot smaller of a risk than any other time.
Correct. It's definitely mitigated. It's not 100% eliminated, but it's definitely mitigated. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you better be 100% eliminated. No, but that's anything in life. Like, you want to start a business, you want to put yourself out there in some way, shape, or form. You want to leave your job to go find a better job. Like, there's risk in every single thing you do. You have to weigh the pros and cons, right? So I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question that I ask every single person on this show. It's a 2-part question. The first part is, what is your definition of success? The second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
The definition of success for me is to be able to say, today I'm going to do this, or today I'm not going to do this. As long as God wakes me up, I have that decision after that to saying, yep, I can do it. No, I don't want to. So to me, that's success. The 3 things that I do every day. Number 1 is, as soon as I wake up, I say thank you to God. Number 2, I meditate. And it's not the whole thing. It's just me sitting at the edge of my bed, just sitting there and just breathing for a few minutes. And number 3 is actually exercising, working out. Every single day, if I'm not boxing, I'm lifting or whatever it is. Those are the 3 things that I do. Appreciation of God, reflection of life, and actually appreciating my body that I've been given. Those are your foundations. Those are your foundations. Appreciate what you have when you wake up, how little, how big, how small, how a lot, whatever. Appreciate it, and the rest just kind of falls into place.
Dude, I love that. And it's so true. It's so true. Like, we've talked when we were in Florida together, I talked about my 4 non-negotiables. These are my non-negotiables that set me up. And if I do those 4 things, you can lay your head on the pillow at the end of the night with some sort of sense of gratitude. Even if something else fell apart, at least I did these things. Now, I will say this. You talk about working out every day, boxing or lifting or whatever. You do that on vacation, right? You were in Hawaii. You posted a picture of your kid cleaning up after himself at the gym. Kudos to you, because that is that non-negotiable goes out the window when I'm on vacation. And then it takes me 3 months to lose the weight that I gained on that vacation. So kudos to you for that for sure. But I want to ask you another question because we've talked so much about legacy during this conversation. Say that you've lived a long, healthy life, but it has come to an end. Everything that you've built, all the doors that you own, all the businesses, all that stuff has gone away. You don't have the street name, which I believe you will, but you don't have the street name. You don't have any of that stuff. But at the end of your life, if you could only be remembered for one sentence, what would that sentence be?
My dad was fucking awesome.
I love it.
Hands down. Hands down. That's it. As long as my kids say he was there, he was awesome, he stood by us, any one of those sentences, I'm good.
I love it. Dude, I saw a clip, and I don't know if you and I spoke about it when we were together, but there's a clip, and it was a guy was like, how do you know you were a good parent, right? And they go, when your adult kids want to spend time with you. They're not forced to spend time with you, but they want to spend time with you.
They want to spend time with you.
Yeah. And I think that that's such a genius way to look at like raising kids, right? I'm new to the game, right? It's only been 4 years for me. Although the kids are older. It's only been 4 years of me being in that role of parent or whatever you want to call me.
You took over the lease payments.
Dude, exactly. I got the bad end of the wholesale. But like I say this to Lauren all the time. Like I say to her, I go, I bet you your kids will want to spend time with me more than you when they're adults. And she's like, they better not. But like that's my goal, right? I'll be a little bit harder on you now, but I guarantee you when you're older, you'll want to spend more time with me, which I'm excited about those days. I'm really, really excited about those days.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I have a big family. I have 6 older brothers, no sisters. And my nephew worked with his dad. And the owner of the dealership at the time that my brother worked for, he was also friends of ours. He had dinner here. And he said, Navid, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, what's up, Mike? He's like, your brother works for me, and now his son, your nephew, works for me. He was like, every day, they go out to lunch together. And he said, here's what's the weird part. It's not that your brother goes to his son and saying, hey, let's go grab lunch. It's that his son comes out and goes to his dad's office saying, hey, are you available for lunch? Here's what, to me, what's more weirder than that is that the guy thinks that's weird. Right? Like, that's not weird. That's how it should be. Your son, daughter, son, whoever, should want to look for you because you've done an amazing job with them. Saying, hey, I want to have lunch with you. I want to do this. That's, to me, that's not weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we have more time to talk or not,
man.
So I wanted to say something about your comment about Hawaii and the gym workout and stuff on vacation. So this year I learned about the phrase travel, not vacation. One of my lenders has said this to me years ago, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Just kind of whatever. Now I get it. When you go on vacation, you're getting away from something. When you travel, you're just traveling. When we went to Hawaii, now I've been self-employed for almost 20 years. I can honestly tell you, it took me 20 plus years to understand this. I never want a vacation again. I now get it. I never want to, because you're on vacation, like, let's just get away, right? Let's just get away for the weekend and go to here, go there. Let's just get away. What in the F are you doing so bad that you need to get away? And that is what I've been focusing on for the past year, is I don't want to get away. I don't want a vacation. I want to travel somewhere, but still live my life, just in a different part of the world. And when we went to Hawaii, I got up naturally, although it's 11 hours or ahead of us. I still got up on time. There was no sleep adjustment. And I've never done that. I'm almost 50 years old. And to say that, hey, my body adapted like that to the work schedule. I worked out. I did it. We ate whatever we freaking ate. We had step competitions. We were like, I got 20,000. You got, I'm beating you by 2. Like, we were just, it wasn't a forced thing. We just traveled to, as you know, went to the UK and Europe and stuff like that. We were traveling there for a month. We were gone. It wasn't a vacation. We were just traveling. And now that I get that, that's like my next mission is to let people get that feeling. Bro, it is a fucking awesome feeling to have that. And I want to give that feeling to everybody who wants it. Like that is an amazing feeling. When people ask me about my trips, I feel bad because the only word that comes to mind is awesome, but it's a feeling I had about these trips. Like it almost brings tears to my eyes of how beautiful and wonderful time my kids and I had. That's all I can say about it. Is
Yeah.
traveling is what people want to do, not vacation.
And what you were in Europe for 3 weeks as well, right? It was 3 weeks.
We went UK, Europe, Asia. We went hopping around, man, and it was just amazing. It was funny because my wife didn't come. Yes, guys, we're absolutely fine. Our marriage isn't on the rocks. She just didn't have the time off. Okay.
How many people were sliding in your DMs during the trip? Where's your
Oh
wife?
my
Why are you not
God.
with your wife?
And, oh, dude, that's a whole different subject. But she would text me, "Hey, this is wrong with the pool. This is, whatever." I'm like, okay. I would just text my contacts. And she was like, "So and so's here." I'm like, "Yeah, you said this was wrong with the pool, so he's taking care of it." Oh, what about this? I'm like, "So and so will be there. Don't worry. They have it. I'll let them in. Don't worry about it." How you gonna let them in? I have an app, babe. They can go through the garage. So all this stuff she was worried about was still being handled while we were away.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, this is nice." I was like, "What's nice? That I'm not home and other men are coming to the house and take care of shit?" Or what? What's the nice part? I need to know this, right? And so I'm just like, okay. So, but it's kind of clicking to her for a point where she says, "I'm done in 2 years." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I'm leaving my job in 2 years. I'm going to be your assistant." I'm like,
You can leave your job, but you're not going to be
You
my
can leave your
assistant.
job, but you ain't gonna be my assistant. You ain't got to go home, but you ain't got to get the hell out of here because it ain't happening. Say that right now. So, anyways, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that traveling, bro, that is where it's at.
Yeah.
That's my next level. That's my next give. I'm gonna work on that. His next give
Dude,
is
I think
that
that's
mindset.
so key, right? Because when I say vacation, because that's the term I've always used, but for me,
Yeah,
it is traveling, right? Because I love my life. As a matter of fact, when we're away too long, like I feel like I need to come, I want to come home, right? Because
yeah,
I do love my life. I love my routine. I love all that stuff. And I like that idea of not allowing travel to mess with those routines or the things that fill you up or whatever. You want to talk about steps competition, right? Like we're going to Disney in November. Like you can't beat me in steps when I'm in Disney, man. Walking all over the place. But with that being said, man, this conversation has been phenomenal. And I wrap up every single interview with the same question. But before we get there,
yeah.
how do people get
Go
a
for it.
hold of you? Where do they find you? Where can they follow you? What's all the good stuff?
I saw at the Navid Moosa for Insta and any kind of socials, even LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. NavidMoosa.com. Obviously, you can get me over there. Message me, DM me, whatever. I get back. You don't get a VA. You don't get a bot. You actually get me responding to you. Hopefully that stays. Was there anything else you asked? That was it.
No, that was good. That was good, man.
Okay.
And like I said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. Since the show is called The Growth Now Movement, that question is, in your
Yes.
life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Ooh, wow. I'm I'm gonna go back to the conversation we had offline when I was recently asked, "What are you prepared to do?" And when I first instinctively said, "I'll do anything," it hit like, "Oh crap, what does that mean?" And I would say that is probably one of the biggest moments in my life was, am I really prepared to do anything, to do whatever it takes to get this business to the next level?
Love
And
it.
I had to, yeah, that's it.
I love it, man. Dude, Navid, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and being part of the Skeleton Key Mastermind. And you truly are unemployable, man. And so go
Yeah, oh
out
yeah.
there and set forth into his. By the way, for those listening, he's wearing a shirt that says unemployable. But I love the fact that you're teaching other people how to build their dream life. It's not about real estate investing. It is
No.
about teaching people how to travel, how to live the life you want, how to wake up and be able to say, no, I don't want to do that. That's what you teach people, man. And it's a gift to the world. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Justin. This was fun. I had a great time. I cannot wait to see you in San Diego. Hope maybe sooner than that, but I can't wait to San Diego hits, bro. That was so much fun.
We'll see you soon, brother.
Take care of yourself.